Where's that hecking on button? Ooh, I found it! Let's play! Good evening everybody, Loke here with a Magic the Gathering Ixalan block draft. Take what you can, give nothing back. Because yes, I played a Magic the Gathering draft recently, so I figured I would share my experience of what I drafted, how I constructed my deck, and how the games went. But yeah, as a quick notice, I am aiming to pitch explanations in this video, so that if you have no understanding of Magic or a heck ton of experience, you should be able to get what I'm squeaking on about. If you do have any questions or want to provide advice on how I could improve, please do comment below, as I would say I'm like at an intermediate level for my Magic playing. I'm not very good, like excellent, and I'm not a beginner either, so I do understand like the higher end of stuff and the lower end of stuff as well, so I want to go right down the middle. I'm also very happy to say that the wonderful music you are hearing is Kill All the Things by T-Lark from his recently remastered album Hello World, an extremely fitting song for Magic as you are indeed trying to kill all the things. I absolutely love this Blue and Black Fox's music, so I must definitely recommend having a listen there. However, coming to the draft, I should quickly run that down. So yes, a draft is you pick one card from a pack and hand the rest to the player next to you. You then repeat this until no cards remain. You do this for 3 packs and then make a deck out of the cards you selected. Simple. So for those that did not know what a draft was, that's what a draft was. It's really simple. But for the draft itself, I would like to start with a disclaimer. I hadn't seen any of the Ixalan block cards before I'd cracked the first pack of the draft. Now, I'm aware that's probably not the best way to go and do a draft if you do aim to win, but I enjoy the challenge that this practice brings. I enjoy not knowing what is in a set in its entirety before going into a draft. It's just a personal thing, and I absolutely absolutely love doing it. But in addition to this, the draft was comprised of 1 pack of Ixalan main set and 2 packs of Rivals, which did add a nice twist to the draft proceedings. It was an extremely casual draft, so it was good to see like a slight change there from the normal draft format, because you would normally draft 3 of the same sort of like mini set almost. So it would normally be 3 main Ixalan or 3 Rivals of Ixalan. In this casual draft instance, we drafted 1 Ixalan and 2 packs of Rivals. But for the first pack, Ixalan. So yes, I opened it up and checked out the rare, as I always do when I draft, because I'm like, oh yeah, do I have a legendary? Oh no, I've only got a rare. That's fine. So when it actually came to the first pack, I'm actually glad I got a rare, because I managed to pick Kinjali's Sunwing. So this is a 3-cost, 2 colourless, 1 white mana creature, and of the dinosaur subtype. It had flying, and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Now, for a 3-cost 2/3 with flying, it's already a solid white creature. However, its ability made it, in my eyes, an extremely powerful pick, and a good addition to a mono-white commander deck that I am constructing, because just tapping creatures your opponents control when they enter the battlefield tapped, or just tapping those creatures when they enter, is like anything with tap abilities inherent within a card is strong in my opinion, especially against rush decks. Kinjali's Sunwing is almost a hard counter or against rush decks. It's an excellent card, and I'm so glad I picked it. However, as the draft continued throughout the first pack, my predisposition to blue-black kicked in when I started seeing how expensive a lot of the mana costs for white and green creatures were. So quickly, for those unaware of Magic colour play, I will do a quick rundown. There are 5 colours in Magic, which can be summarised in the acronym WUBERG. White, blue, black, red and green. For some reason, U is blue in this acronym due to black taking the letter B. And then there's a 6th sort of unofficial colour, which is like colourless. That's artifacts and like minions that don't need like just coloured mana to play, which is awesome, but they're generally slightly underpowered. That's an aside, I'm getting distracted. But to quickly summarise card themes as well, and card effects for each colour, I would do so as white being a life gain, and small creatures that help each other, blue as being game control and trickery, black as creature removal and crippling, red as direct damage and rush, and green as big things, very big things, and destroying aforementioned artifacts and sort of like enchantments and that sort of thing. But yeah, my aforementioned blue-black predisposition kicked in due to these colours fitting my personal playstyle, and some very powerful uncommons and a rare, especially swinging my deck direction. Now, that rare was an especially important card, because the picked rare was a little something called Vraska's Contempt. Now, this is a 4-cost, 2 colourless, 2 black mana instant. Exile target creature or planeswalker. You gain 2 life. That's an exceptional card as a 4-mana instant. Exile a creature alone is powerful because it can't be taken back out of your graveyard by your opponent, being an exile and all. That being a thing that blue-black players do. I know, I play a lot of blue and black. And to have this affect Planeswalkers and give you 2 life is hilarity, and it makes an absolute must-have in any deck. This is a card that is playable in Modern, in my opinion, playable in Standard, and playable in Commander. It's a very potent card. But swiftly moving on, in keeping with the theme of Ixalan, I then took Grim Captain's Call. This was a 3-cost, 2 colourless, 1 black mana sorcery, and it was return a pirate card from your graveyard to your hand, then do the same for Vampire, Dinosaur, and Merfolk. So, in short, this is a creature return from graveyard for all Ixalan creature types. This encourages creature diversity in deck building, but 3 mana for diversified creature return is reasonable, and this is even better taking into account that in a draft you're going to be taking more than 1 creature type, just due to pick limitations. You've got packs going around, and you might not be able to go for just purely pirate tribal. It makes it very, very difficult. So having that diversity and having something like Grim Captain's Call that can get creatures out of the graveyard, definitely reasonable. So yes, that is why I took that one. But having seen how powerful black cards were, one blue card in particular did catch my eye, and that was Navigator's Ruin. It was a 3-cost, 2 colourless, 1 blue mana enchantment. So it had the keyword Raid. At the beginning of your end step, if you attacked with a creature this turn, that being the effect of Raid, target opponent puts the top 4 cards of his or her library into his or her graveyard. Now, consider this. Draft is a 40-card format. Most players play 40-card decks. Now, this is an incredibly important fact to get your head around, as it makes cards like Navigator's Ruin incredibly powerful, but I'll break it down for those who may or may not be aware of the concept of mill. If you get Navigator's Ruin out turn 3 for 3 mana and attack each turn, this puts your opponent on a 9-turn timer until they are dead. Now, this is because if they cannot draw a card or discard a card from their library at any time, they lose the game, and by extension, I would win. So, yeah, naturally I took 2 of these. I took 2 Navigator's Ruins, and one was a foil. It made me very happy. So yeah, if I could get both of these out onto the battlefield, my opponent would lose 8 cards from their library a turn. That's putting your opponent essentially on, at the most, a 5-turn timer until they are dead. That's a lot of pressure to put an opponent under, so I'm very happy that I got that. So to say that the first pack had definitely cemented my blue-black leaning is an understatement. As a consequence, I continued to run with it throughout the 2 remaining Rivals of Ixalan packs. And although I did draft 30 cards out of these 2 packs, I'll highlight what I thought to be the key 5 picks. For those interested, however, I have compiled the full draft deck list in the description below. You can pore over the pages, as you will, to see how the deck sort of like came together. But yes, continuing on from Library Discard, I then doubled down on this style and invested in Arterial Flow, a gorgeous name for a card. 3 mana, 1 colourless, 2 black. And it was a sorcery. Each opponent discards 2 cards. If you control a vampire, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Now, this card helps to disrupt an opponent's tempo in the early game, or even remove expected power plays in the late game. As a side note, the life loss and life gain is a very nice cherry on top, which did encourage me to pick a few common vampires when selection did dwindle at the later stages of the draft. I was then aware that I had very few creatures, and I would require creatures that would be a nuisance to block to ensure their survival during combat to play off of Navigator's Ruin. The likes of Kitesail Corsair with flying did fit the bill there. Now, this is a 2-cost, 1 colourless, 1 blue mana creature. It had the human pirate subtype. Kitesail Corsair has flying as long as it's attacking, and for a 2-1 pirate subtype, it's a brilliant pick. It works with Grim Captain's Call and would only need flying when attacking for my needs, which it did. Its ability is it only has flying as long as it's attacking. But something you may be thinking, especially experienced players may be thinking, wait, you're playing blue-black, where are the blue counterspells? Don't worry, I didn't forget about the blue counterspells. Whenever counterspells did appear, I took them, and Negate, especially Negate, did its part. Now, Negate is a 2-cost, 1 colourless, 1 blue mana instant. Counter target non-creature spell. Now, this is a reprint. Negate seems to be reprinted a lot. It's just a good card. It was especially useful in preventing white-green creature buff by the opponent, and black-blue-red removal spells by the opponent. Also, just sheerly just through countering them. And although you can't counter creatures with Negate, the aforementioned Vraska's Contempt and other low-cost mana creature removal did fill this role, so that wasn't really an issue. I was then pleasantly surprised to draw Nezahal Primal Tide halfway through a pack. Now, this is a very interesting card. Nezahal Primal Tide is a 7-cost, 5 colourless, 2 blue mana legendary creature and an Elder Dinosaur. A legendary creature just means you can only have one in your deck for those that are unaware, but also Nezahal Primal Tide can't be countered. You have no maximum hand size. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, draw a card, and it has the ability to discard 3 cards. You can exile Nezahal and return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. And for a big boy, a very big boy at 7/7 with inbuilt card draw and a nice bonus in that it couldn't be countered, it was a most worthwhile pick. In addition to this, it filled out the top end of the mana curve very nicely, which was pleasant, and yeah, that inbuilt card draw was important. If you've got an opponent trying to essentially counter other creatures or remove them, you'd be drawing cards and then getting solutions to those counters, so again, a very useful card. And to cap everything off, the last main card of note was Mastermind's Acquisition. This really did cap off the deck very nicely, it being a 4-cost, 2 colourless mana, 2 black mana sorcery, with the ability choose one. Search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library, or choose a card you own from outside the game and put it into your hand. This is another potent card as it cycles itself whilst giving you the flexibility to find an answer for almost any situation you find yourself in. Need mana? Find the land. Need blockers? Find a creature. Need removal? Find removal. In short, Mastermind's Acquisition rounded up the deck and made me very happy. It helped to make it more effective in basically, oh, you've got a big creature, I'm just going to look for Vraska's Contempt. Oh, there's Vraska's Contempt. It dies. So, yeah, it allowed it to be more consistent. It allowed the deck to be more consistent. As for the rest of the deck, I then filled it with flying creatures and cheap removal or counter spells. If I therefore had to summarise my thought process in deck play, I would do so like so. Step 1, get cheap 1-cost and 2-cost, preferably flying creatures out, turns 1 and 2. Get Navigator's Ruin out, turn 3. Attack turn 3 and mill 4 cards, so your opponent will be 4 cards down. Continue getting out creatures to repeat the mill 4 effect by attacking each turn, whilst removing and countering the opponent's efforts to remove or block my attacking creatures. In short, fly or die, mill to win. That was the whole concept of this draft deck. As for the games themselves, the draft consisted of 3 rounds of best of 3. The first round I went 2-0. This was solely on the power of my flying creatures and removal due to Navigator's Ruin not being drawn. Much the shame that it was. The second round, I then went 2-1. I did lose my second game due to just being mana screwed. It happens. Even to the best players, you can get mana screwed. You just draw too much land. You have that, like, taking up your hand, and before you know it, you've been booped down just to 0, and you're deaded. But yeah, my deck was then redeemed happily by a subsequent explosive game where I got both, I say, Navigator's Ruin enchantments out onto the field, and milled 8 cards per turn, which just led to a win state at a ludicrous pace. I was so surprised that I was able to actually pull that off. But yeah, final round, I then went 2-1. I did lose my second game again. This time it was due to being rushed by white, green and red dinosaurs. However, both wins were then mill wins again, so that's a definite thing to say. I'm very happy with that again. I enjoy mill. I enjoy it as an experience when you're playing against an opponent. But to say I was happy to have won a draft, having only played 3 in the past, is an understatement. And to do so with a colour combination and deck type that was in my wheelhouse was a dream. I play a lot of blue-black mill. My commander is a blue-black mill. Commander, it's what I do. But yeah, I did win 4 packs on the casual draft event. I ended up getting Polyraptor for my first pack. This was a 8-cost, so I had to click it up then. 6, 7, 8-cost creature with 6 colourless and 2 green. It is a dinosaur and the ability Enrage. So yes, whenever Polyraptor is dealt damage, the dealing damage being part of the Enrage mechanic, create a token that is a copy of Polyraptor. So yeah, for a 5/5 creature that can essentially take damage and then make a copy of itself. which can then take damage, make a copy of itself, and then take damage. You can see where I'm getting with this. It's a very powerful card, very expensive, but there are ways to cheat it out using blue. Yeah, I'm a very tricksy sort of a bat. I enjoy playing a lot of blue with my colour combinations. But, yeah, it just reminded me of the Grim Patron, a minion in Hearthstone with a very similar ability. And I was overjoyed. I love Grim Patron in Hearthstone. You can get some hilarious events coming out of that. But yeah, from my 4th pack, also, I did pull Tetsamok Primal Death. A 6 cost, 4 colourless, 2 black mana, legendary creature, another Elder Dinosaur, and we did see. It had Death Touch, which means that if it dealt damage, even 1 damage to a creature, it would die. You could pay 1 black mana and reveal Primal Death from your hand. Put a prey counter, whoops, mispronounced prey there, on target creature, activating this ability only during your turn, so essentially at sorcery speed. And when Tetsamok enters the battlefield, you can destroy each creature your opponent controls with a prey counter on it. Now, it's an interesting mechanic. Prey does seem to be powerful, but I can only see it being more of a novelty than a utility creature, because your opponent can see Tetsamok Primal Death coming, so if they have ways to discard cards from your hand, yeah, it's more of a novelty than a utility, but a very fun novelty nonetheless. But at the end of the event, I was given the best card in Magic, the absolute creme de la creme of cards. It was Partisan Bats. Yes, it was a 4 cost, 3 colourless, 1 black mana creature, a bat, and it had flying. For a 3/1 creature, you may be thinking, why the heck is that the best? There are a lot better cards. Why is it the best? Bats. That's why. I like bats. And yes, I'm completely joking, I promise. I'm aware Partisan Bats is not the best card in Magic by a long shot. Nope, not at all, but I love bats. It's amazing. But yes, do let me know, did you enjoy this video? Would you like to see more Magic videos like this? But for now, it does unfortunately come to the shill bit of the video. If you did enjoy this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If not, that's perfectly fine as well. Those sorts of things can be left to be nommed by the vampires and dinosaurs of Ixalan. But yes, thank you once again for watching our videos. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and good night.